B-A-T. It's in the name.
Welcome into the Helping Healing Humor podcast with Ben and Travis. On today's episode, we will be talking about the senior year of high school checklist for parents and students with Whitney Creasy. Whitney is in her 10th year as a college and career advisor at Riverside Christian Academy in Fayetteville, Tennessee. She's also the author of Reframing Hope, Our Journey Through Cancer, Adoption, and Love. You can pick that book up at benandtravis.com/books. This episode is packed with important info to make you or your child's senior year a little more organized and a little less stress-filled. We will jump right to it after these messages.
This episode of the Helping Healing Humor podcast is brought to you by Howell Wealth Management. On the Helping Healing Humor podcast, we talk about anxiety and stress and its impact on our everyday lives. We know that finances, including planning for retirement, is one of the leading causes of stress. It can be confusing and overwhelming. There are differing opinions on the best approach. It can be hard to know who to trust. For our retirement planning, Whitney and I trust Greg Howell of Howell Wealth Management at Northwestern Mutual. Greg is professional, knowledgeable, and accessible. He looks at the whole picture and thinks outside the box to create ways to help you reach your financial goals. Retirement planning can be especially challenging for ministers who do not have the benefit of a 401k, but Greg's expertise and creativity can get you on the right path and give you confidence for the future. Text him to schedule your free 15-minute consultation today at 931-638-1576. Be sure to tell him Ben and Travis sent you. I'm Travis. That's the all-pro counselor, Ben Hayes.
Hello there. Good to see everybody.
And also Will the Thrill.
What's up, guys? How are y'all?
And as promised, we have Whitney Creasy, College and Career Advisor at Riverside Christian Academy.
Hey, guys.
Not to mention my better half, Ben, is with us on location, getting dinner after Wednesday night.
Loving that chicken from Popeyes. Question of the day from Friday Refresh that we want to present to Whitney here, and it kind of hits close to home because I am the parent of a senior, and we want to kind of ask you some questions regarding seniors. So as a parent of the senior, what am I behind on right now if we didn't get it done in August? I'm feeling like I'm probably pretty far behind on some things, so catch me up.
No, you're not. It's not too bad. It's the beginning of September, and I know that senior year can be stressful for kids and parents. So with this being on the Helping Healing Humor podcast, I think this is a good topic to relieve some of your stress. I don't know about y'all, but I feel like if I have a plan, then I am a lot less stressed. So for seniors, and their parents, if you haven't done anything toward the college and career planning process yet, here's a few items that I would say get these done before Halloween. And that is, number one, I would compile a resume. So that should include all of your extracurricular activities, work experience, community service and volunteer work, awards, honors. Sometimes your college applications are going to ask you to include a resume. But it's mostly going to be a huge time saver for scholarship applications and college applications. If you don't have to attach a resume to your college application, if you have this saved as a Google Doc on your drive, you can just copy and paste into those fields on all the college applications that you're going to do and on all the scholarship applications. So if you spend about 30 minutes right now just compiling all of that information together and saving it on your Google Drive, it's going to make applying to colleges and applying for scholarships a lot easier in the future, and you can knock them out really easily if you're not having to think of these things over and over and over again. The next thing, definitely compile a list of your top 3 to 5 schools. I would say you should have a general idea about some type of field that you would want to work in right now at this point. If you don't, we can definitely drop some different career tests, free online career tests, personality type tests, work values tests, skills assessments in the show notes, right? We can do that?
Absolutely.
Okay. So we can drop some links to those in the show notes, and you can use those tools to figure out some possible options for you. And then I would compile that list of your top 3 to 5 schools that offer the degree that you need to get a job. So I also always suggest that a community college should be in your top 3 to 5 schools list. I see this every single year with our students. A lot of students, they start the year out with a plan to move away from home, and by the end of the year, they have either realized that that's going to be too expensive, or maybe they're not quite ready to move away from home, or just some type of circumstance changes, and they didn't apply to a community college. And there's just no reason for that, when if you start at the beginning of the year with a community college in that top 3 to 5 schools list and apply to that community college, you're going to already be set up with admission and scholarship money for that community college, because so many times there is scholarships left on the table there, but if you didn't apply for it to start with, then you don't get it when the time comes and you've changed your mind. So number 1, resume. Number 2, top 3 to 5 schools list. Number 3, fastweb.com is a good, quick, free resource for national scholarships that you can kind of set up a profile for yourself. And it will ask you a bunch of different questions about what you're interested in, what you want to major in, if you're right or left-handed, all kinds of different things like that you could possibly get scholarships for. And they will just email you applications to scholarships that you're eligible for. And you can fill those out as you have time. I tell my students every year that they won't have time to fill out every application that these websites will send them. And so I just suggest that they block out like 30 minutes to an hour per week to work on those applications, because they are larger pool scholarships. They're going to be more national level scholarships. They're not local. So there's more people competing for those. But if you have that resume saved on your drive, and if you have a few essays saved on a Google Drive or on your computer, your laptop, that are answers to, just regularly occurring scholarship essay prompts or admission essay prompts, then you can use those over and over and over again. And it's a lot of just uploading and sending on those scholarships, so you can get really efficient. I have one student who has applied, I think she told me, over 60 scholarships just since August. So that's something that she's really taken to heart and just saved those things and really worked efficiently on those scholarships. I would also say visit your prospective colleges. So once you've kind of done some career testing, figured out what you're interested in, applied to the schools that you're interested in, and compiled a resume and started applying for some scholarships, I would go visit your prospective colleges and get a feel for the campus. Most high schools offer excused absences for college visits. Every high school is going to have a different policy on that. We give students 3 per year to visit colleges or to do work study. So check with your counselor, your principal, and see what those policies are, and go visit your prospective colleges. And while you're there, make sure you speak to your admissions counselor, and that you have a list of questions ready for that admissions counselor that are pertinent to that specific college. So if you have specific questions about what their scholarships are like, or what year you would need to be admitted to the nursing program, or whatever those different questions that you may have are, keep a list of those for each college and make sure that you're asking your admissions counselor when you go on that visit. The next thing I would say is just really pay close attention to the college application and scholarship deadlines. So deadlines usually begin around November 1st. We're in Tennessee, and some of the larger state universities, their application deadline is actually November 1st. That's why I say all of these first steps, I would do them by Halloween, because you're safe at that point and you've met the deadlines. So like the University of Tennessee, their application deadline is November 1st. And some of the other larger state universities have early deadlines as well. So that means that you need to have filled out your admission application and that you have sent all of the required documents by that date. Required documents might be letters of recommendation, transcripts, essays, things like that. Another thing about letters of recommendation with that resume is if you ask a person to write you a letter of recommendation, you can just shoot them an email with your resume attached, and it makes it so much easier for them to write you a letter of recommendation. I require any of my kids that ask me to write a letter of recommendation to send me a resume, and I can do a lot better job for them on that letter and get it to them a lot quicker when they do that.
So, Will, it's about that time for all the youth group to start asking you and I for letters of recommendation, and it's coming.
Every year.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I would also say, as you pay attention to deadlines, make sure that you are asking each college if they are awarding merit-based scholarships with admission applications, or if they have a separate scholarship application. So this is just different from school to school. So a lot of schools, when you apply for admission, they are going to award scholarships based on your ACT score and your GPA that's on your transcript, and that's just kind of automatic. There's no extra application for the scholarships. And then there are other schools where when you apply for admission, that's just the admission application. That is just them welcoming you to be a student at their school, and they have a separate scholarship application with a separate deadline. So I would just make sure that you are keeping a list of the schools that you're applying to, what their scholarship procedures are and what those deadlines are, and that you know that you're meeting all of those deadlines. Another thing is I would definitely have a planner with those dates in it. Paper planners may seem really old-fashioned at this point, but I always suggest that seniors have a paper planner as a backup for their phone. And I would also definitely suggest that you keep a record of all of your login information for everything that you're going to have during your senior year. You have so many logins. All of these schools that you apply to, you're going to apply online. There will be a login. Once you're accepted, you'll have an email address and a student portal. And that's how they communicate with you. It's not necessarily that you go to your mailbox and that you get this nice, like, your accepted package anymore. A lot of times you're going to be communicated with through email, and that's how they'll send you financial aid packages and everything, and you're going to need to know how to log in for that. Fafsa is another thing that you're definitely going to need to remember PIN numbers for and login information for. So I would definitely have a place where that is stored, all kept together and in order. By the end of October, I would say start on the Fafsa. Fafsa opens on October 1st, and that is the free application for federal student assistance. You can find that at fafsa.gov. All colleges require that you have a current Fafsa on file before they'll send you a financial aid package. If you live in Tennessee, the Fafsa is your application for Hope Scholarship. To be eligible for the Hope Scholarship, you have to have a 21 on the ACT or a 3.0 GPA, but your application is your FAFSA. So it's very important to do that, and make sure that you keep that login information. So that's all of the stuff that I would say right now is important to do. And then, of course, from state to state, there's different things. In Tennessee, we have different lottery scholarships. The Tennessee Promise is one of those. That's 2 free years of technical school or community college. The deadline to apply for that is November 1st. So that's another deadline for Tennesseans, and that's at tennesseepromise.gov. Even if you're a little farther down the road and you feel like you're behind, I wouldn't worry about it too much, because like I said, these deadlines are kind of arbitrary. I say I have this done by Halloween just because those are the earliest admissions deadlines. Now, it doesn't mean that every admission deadline is on November 1st. It's just those are the earliest ones. And if you have that step done, for all of your colleges by then, you're safe. But I wouldn't freak out about it too much.
Yeah, so my senior year, I didn't decide where I was going until like February.
Right.
So my question would be like, for seniors and to kind of help the parents, what should like a high school senior be accomplishing or finishing out this fall and before Christmas in their respective, kind of category of what they need to be doing?
Okay. So I would be making sure that the admissions process is complete before Christmas. So that means for every school that you're possibly interested in. That would include a community college. That would include like those reach schools that probably are not the one that you'll end up at, but would be really cool to go to. And then the ones that are really realistic, that have your major, that fit your budget, all of those things. Admissions process complete by Christmas at all of those schools. That doesn't mean that you've made a decision about where you're going to attend college in the fall. That just means that you've kept the door open at all of the schools that you might possibly want to attend. And so that's kind of a phrase that I use with my seniors a lot, is just keep the door open. So keep the door open on as many opportunities as you think you could possibly choose from. And that includes, with my seniors, I tell all of my Tennessee residents to apply for Tennessee Promise, because that's a free open door. It's a free open door to community college for 2 years or to technical school for 2 years. And there's no sense in not keeping that door open until you've made a final decision and you can close it. And so having the admissions process completed at every school that you would possibly attend is just keeping your opportunities open. And then I would just say, keep your eye out for those scholarships. In Lincoln County, where we live, our local scholarships that are more state and county level, they don't really start coming out until January. That's when we see most of them, is the January, February timeframe, but you can still use those national websites like fastweb.com to search for national level scholarships all throughout your senior year. And I would suggest doing that, just having a little chunk of time set aside once a week where you look at those emails that FastWeb or whatever scholarship service you're using has sent you, and just sit down and apply for the ones that are most efficient for you. And that's the way that I kind of tell my seniors to do it. It's just whichever ones are most efficient. If it is a scholarship that has an essay question where you've already written that essay, that's easy. It's a no-brainer. Go ahead and do it. And then really just work through the ones that you think you could possibly be a good candidate for. And then I would also say just continue to study. A lot of seniors lose track of the fact that their grades still matter in high school as they're getting in this process. So I would say continue to study and not get too much senioritis at that point, because I kind of see that happen.
I think that kind of leads into the last question is, you get past Christmas, you get over the hump. I personally, least favorite months of the year are January and February. Shout out to Larry Davenport, because CYC quite literally gets some of us through the short days, early nights of those months. And I get senioritis. I get to the point where I'm ready to be out in May. So I can't even imagine for people who are getting ready to graduate, because it's been a long time ago for me anyways. So, what is it that you're talking about? Don't forget to study, don't forget those things. So as we get over Christmas and we head into May or early June, what are the things that senior parents, seniors should be looking at as far as the future? August coming soon.
Okay, so I would definitely be in your counselor's office regularly asking what scholarships are available in the spring semester, because that's when more local scholarships are going to come out and be available to apply for. And those, of course, are smaller pools because they're local, and you're more likely to know the people who are giving those scholarships. So if your counselor isn't bringing you applications, then I would be in their office and asking them for those applications. At that point, in the senior year. I would also, at that point, when you're going to make a final decision. So you'll start getting financial aid packages from colleges around March. And that's usually the determining factor, really, for where students are going to go to college. So at that time, you need to be able to lay out all of your offers and compare and contrast and make your final decision in the spring of your senior year. And then you need to make sure that you are checking your emails. Seniors, I'm going to repeat that. Check your emails. This is a life skill that you need as an adult. And your college is going to begin communicating with you via email at that point. And it is going to be very important that you check those and that you meet any deadlines. Like some colleges are going to require that you pay a housing deposit to be able to pick your housing. Make sure you're checking those emails and they're doing the things that they tell you to do. Register for orientation. Make sure that you're registering for your classes. All of these different things, they're going to communicate that to you via email, and you need to make sure that you're checking it regularly and that you're keeping up with the things that they are telling you to do through that communication. You'll also need to make sure that you fill out a transcript request form at your high school so that your high school knows where to send your final transcript once you have graduated. And then just some mistakes to avoid. We'll talk about those really quickly. Is just worrying too much about this process and not enjoying your senior year. That's a mistake that I see a lot. Don't let that happen. If you start to get worried about the process, I would just stop thinking about it for a little while and go do something fun and return to it later. Okay. The senioritis, of course, is a mistake to avoid. That just happens when you are just tired of school and you're just ready to move on past. And so again, I would say try to be in the present moment. Burning out, there's a lot of students who they get tired of the grind of high school and they get really burnt out in the senior year. And so at that point, I would say break your list down into manageable chunks, mark off items on your list, and it'll give you a sense of direction and accomplishment. I also see that seniors don't use their resources. It's everybody in your school, they want to see you succeed. Everybody in your church wants to see you succeed. Everybody in your family wants to see you succeed. Everybody in your life, they're really willing to help you with anything. So if you don't ask, they don't know how to help you. So don't be afraid to ask somebody to help with reviewing your resume or a scholarship application or writing you a recommendation letter or helping you understand a financial aid packet. So just ask for help. There are people who are willing to help you, and if they don't know how, they're willing to help you find that help. So use your resources. And then the last one that I would say to avoid is this just lack of attention to detail. It's very important that you pay attention to detail. The small things really do matter. So pay attention to the details, including like your deadlines, instructions on applications that you're filling out, instructions in these emails that your college is going to send you. Your spelling, your grammar, your handwriting on these applications and admissions scholarships. These small details, they do make a difference sometimes between one scholarship application and another. So make a habit of checking your work before you kind of like turn it in a hurry. Pay attention to those details.
Well, I appreciate all that information, and I wish that every school had a Whitney, right? But, she's here in Fayetteville, so she's with me, so tough luck there. No, but thank you for that information. And as an opportunity to just kind of get to know you a little bit better, right? You've been on the episodes, podcast a few times, but we are in the middle of our 28 Days of Focused Living Challenge over on our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Ben and Travis. And as we're recording this on a wind down Wednesday, and we're kind of focusing on relaxing a little bit. Hopefully everybody's been out there maybe with their church families, and that's helped a little bit. But when you need to relax, Whitney, maybe some advice to relax to our seniors, our senior parents. What do you do? Give us a couple of things that you like to do to relax, to kind of, even if it's 15 minutes.
Okay. I can think of a few things. I like to go out on a walk by myself. That's relaxing to me. I like to get in my sauna. I have a sauna. That's relaxing to me. I like to read.
It's one of those portable deals, right?
Yeah.
Portable saunas.
Yoga is relaxing to me. And sometimes just reading a book is relaxing.
What kind of book do you read to relax?
I have a lot of nerdy books.
Nerdy books.
That I read.
Nerdy books. I knew there was a reason why I liked you so much.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on, sharing this information.
To everybody listening, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on your favorite podcast app. And be sure and share this with one of your favorite seniors, their families, to make sure that they're prepared for this next chapter.
Thanks for being with us for this episode of the Helping Healing Humor podcast. Be sure to download our free ebook, 28 Days of Focused Living, at benandtravis.com and receive all of our Helping Healing and Humor extra content directly in your inbox. We look forward to having you join us at the same Ben and Travis time, same Ben and Travis channel.